Because since I am a registered Democrat, I actually voted for Bernie. Um,
Oh my God, so triggery.
I voted for Bernie in the primaries just because I didn't want to see Hillary in the election. Um,
Oh, I get that though. I totally understand.
but that might actually have been better. So, um, but yeah, we are live. Our guest here, I don't know if they're gonna show up, but we're gonna wait. We're gonna be reacting to some things first, and I think that might take up some more time in the stream. So thank you guys for joining with us tonight. This is a series of videos that we are trying to live stream every week for you guys. Me and Classy Liberal here. Classy Liberal finally decided to be on camera. He's not scared to show his face anymore.
Come on, man. I
So
thought it before.
yeah, you did it once. What is it about? Do you get like nervous or like kind of weird being on camera?
Yeah, it's just kind of weird on camera because like when I do videos, like I usually just hold on. I usually just like do a mic and I use like a picture. This isn't really a face reveal because like my profile picture is literally a face of me. Like, come on, this isn't an avatar. Like, this is not an avatar. You can just no. I'm just not used to doing a webcam. I mean, it's not really. I'm not really nervous or anything. I guess it just feels weird. I guess. Um, I
Hold on,
was
let me
gonna do like a video. Like,
1 second. Let me make sure.
sure.
All right. Because when you're talking, the green light is showing that I'm talking. So go ahead and talk.
Yeah. Can you hear me there just fine?
Okay. Because it wasn't switching to you when you were talking. Because I know that's what Google does. Let me try with the headphones. This should be fine. I think I'm just overreacting. Hello.
Yeah.
I think we're good. Someone should say something. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying that the reason like I didn't do the that I was actually planning to do like a video like on camera in the future though. It's just like I wanted to do the good camera, not with a webcam. Um, but like I don't really have anything against. I guess whenever coming on camera though, just
That was one of my big things when I started making videos. It's like worried about how you look on camera, and I don't know, like you just got to get over it. No one likes how you look. I had to get over like how you sound, how you talk, how you look on camera to finally just start making videos because I'm just like fuck it. So, but guys, the first subject for today, I think that we're gonna do this here while we wait for the guest. But if he doesn't show up, it's not a big deal. Um, so as you guys know, I had a video titled "How Feminists and MGTOW Are the Same," and it got downvoted into oblivion. But as you can see here, had an incredible engagement rate. And that's what people don't realize is that if you want to make, if someone upsets you about a video, like the worst thing you can do is just like, because usually it's like they'll go over and over to the video, like back to the video, and dislike it and comment and shit, and it's like that helps the video because this video had more views than other videos that had less. It had less engagement, even though it's dislikes. It's more engagement. Whether it's a like or a dislike, it's still a good engagement for the video, and that's what a lot of people don't realize, right? So I made this video, and one of the first comments here, I guess I can go over. But basically, real quick, we're just gonna respond to these comments here. I didn't know I had a whole bunch of MGTOW on my channel and stuff, and I'm empathetic with MGTOW, and I wasn't trying to make a false equivalence. The video that I made, it's not a video; it's just a clip of a stream. When I was talking about it, I was just kind of pointing out the similarities between feminists and MGTOW, and maybe that doesn't. I'm not saying that they are the same, and a lot of people get upset with me sometimes because Classy, we were talking about it, is how I purposely make like titles to be clickbaity. I mean, that's why the freaking name of this stream is literally Black People and Women Ruin Star Wars, because like it's just I'm going for the jugular, you know. And you look, I've said this in many of my streams before, where you look at my most popular videos, it's gonna be the ones with the most egregious titles, and you do that on purpose to get people's attention. You get people to click on the video and watch you, and that's the whole point of YouTube, right? So I don't really understand where people are like, oh, so you know, we have some comments here. One of the first ones here, clickbait title, low effort content, cheap false equivalents, unsubbed, a good day, sir. So I don't really care. I don't really care if you unsub from me, you know, like I'm going to make the videos I want to make. If you disagree with me, like, so many creators are out there and they post things of people saying like, oh, this I'm unsubscribing. It's like, okay, like good for you. I mean, if you're unsubscribing from this one video, you probably obviously subscribed for something else, right? And
One
if you're,
less moron.
yeah, well, I don't care. Like, yeah, that's fine, man. I'm all about freedom. If you don't, if that was what's going to make you unsubscribe, then so be it. But I wanted to just kind of quickly just go over these comments here, and I want to reach out. Like, if there are MGTOW viewers out there, um, come on the stream. We'll talk about it. Um,
Those are welcome here.
yeah, MGTOWs are welcome here. Yeah, and I empathize with, like I said, I empathize with MGTOWs. I understand why MGTOWs exist because, one thing I do, and I think there's a difference between MGTOWs and men's rights activists. So
Yeah.
obviously, I do. I mean, I wouldn't say I am a men's rights person. Like, I believe in men's rights the same way I believe in women's rights, but men's rights activists, they're out there fighting about legit issues like the court system, when it comes to marriage laws, when it has to do
Double
with.
standards regarding, men's how men are viewed in society. Both, how we treat it legally in the legal system, and how we treat it at a societal level, for sure. Yeah, I'd say I'm definitely in the same boat. While I don't consider myself an MRE, I'm all for what the MRAs are doing, and I think it's great that there are some people out there that do have a concern for men's rights and men's well-being, just as we have people out there that are concerned for women's well-being.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, there's legit concerns, especially with alimony. I mean, there's plenty of, the marriage laws are fucked when it comes to men and women. It leans so heavily, like, towards the other way. It's crazy, right? I'm definitely going to recognize that. There's cases out there you can find where, you know, a man can be with a woman and be married and didn't sign a prenup, and they've been together for 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And then the woman can go and cheat on the man, go with another dude, and then they divorce to get separated. The husband wants to get separated. He wants a divorce because it's like, yeah, you fucking cheated on me. And then if the woman doesn't have a job and she's being supported by the husband, she will have the divorce lawyer, like, fight for alimony and fight for money. Like, there's a case I know where this guy was divorced and he had to pay alimony for, like, I think he has to pay it for like 15 years after the divorce. And it's like, he's literally paying money, like he's working to pay money to his ex-wife while she's living in his old house and sleeping with another man. And it's like, yeah, that's fucked. I definitely understand why.
It's even worse when, like, a lot of these men, have children with these women, and they want to be in their children's lives. They want to be good fathers, though. But, like, the system is so, I don't want to use the term genocentric, but, like, so biased, against men, that, the women end up are able to see, like, the children more than the men are able to see the children. I do understand that women naturally are good nurturers and are good at, taking care of children, sure, but we should still advocate for fathers to have a bigger role in their children's lives, and taking that away from men who really want to be in children's lives, that's
Right.
terrible.
Yeah. And then so the court system is set up to where the children will always be awarded to the mom. And I do kind of agree with that. However, the law is so strict that not all cases are the same. Not all moms are the same. So you'll literally have like court systems and systems where the mom can be a complete piece of shit. The mom can be like the most horrible mom. The dad is trying to like take care of the kids, and the court awards the kids to the mom, and she will still have the kids and still keep custody because she wants um because she wants to have the child support and the alimony coming in, and that's why they do that. What up, Justin Baumgartner? He said, "Makes me glad Alabama doesn't have alimony laws." Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Alabama.
go there when I get married.
Yeah, go there when you get married. Yeah, I mean, like I said, alimony is it's set up in a very unfair way, and I completely agree with. I completely see how that go.
Yeah, going to like the MGTOW conversation though. So yeah, we can both agree that like definitely there are a lot of ways that like society is just very biased against men, both legal system and both at a societal level, culture level. But their solution is to basically just like rid any sort of meaningful relationship with women. What does that stand for?
Right,
Men going their own way. So they only think that like the only relationship you should have with women is like casual sex relationships. And if individuals want to pursue that life, that's fine. I don't care though. But to advocate that as that's some sort of good for society, I would highly disagree with that. I think people are happy are usually happier when they're in a monogamous relationship.
monogamous relation. Right,
So
or
essentially, yeah, go on.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Essentially they have like a comparison with like feminism though is that like I guess many feminists want women to be independent from men, and MGTOWs want men to be independent from women. So men going their own way. They don't want men to pay for dates. They don't want men to get married or have children with women. They want men to just basically just be bachelors for like the rest of their lives. You know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we're gonna watch this video real quick, but I want to reply to these comments. So, if you guys are watching and you were one of these people that commented, like shout out to you guys, or if you're still not here, it's like whatever. But I want to reply to these comments because this will be uploaded to the channel later. So, really quick, subject to change said feminism is women demanding action by society. MGTOW is men recoiling from contributing to a society that favors women and allows women to use the government as a weapon against men. So yeah, man, I completely agree with that. I understand, like I said, the main issues MGTOWs have is that when they do go their own way, MGTOWs like I guess can you be a MGTOW if like you have a girlfriend and you just never decide to get married? I mean, I have a friend who he has like 3 kids with his girlfriend and just says like I will never get married. Like he refuses to get married. Like is he a MGTOW or is he
Um,
just
meant to be considered MGTOW, you have to associate yourself with the movement. But really, what MGTOW is like, based on the videos I've seen from like Sandman and a bunch of people, is that they have a really cynical view on women, right? And
right,
it's essentially, I think it's possible that some MGTOWs might have a girlfriend, but really, like the ideology is very anti-monogamy, is very anti even having a girlfriend. They have such a low view of women that I think it's very difficult for a MGTOW to be in a happy relationship with a woman, even if it's not marriage, but just like a whatever relationship or whatever. Um,
right?
I should do like
I've
more reading, but I think it's difficult. Let's put it that way.
yeah, yeah, and it's a dangerous place. I mean, I was in a relationship where I felt like my significant other was always. It got to a point where she was always looking to be my enemy, and it was so annoying. And she did that with other people too, like other close people around her as well. But I would literally say to her like, hey, like we're just talking. I'm not your enemy. Don't disrespect me. Like, and I understand like MGTOW go, I've been, like I said, I talked about in that stream that I've been through the worst of the worst. I've been divorced and I'm currently single and I'm kind of being very picky and choosy on who I want to spend my time with and who I want to call my girlfriend. Like for me to call, I feel like now for me to call someone my girlfriend, they have to be a very special girl. Um, and that's my right. And that's, you know, I had to learn the hard way. And, I'm not resentful. I've learned to be very forgiving and very like, I didn't lose money out of it. And I feel like every experience is a learning experience. Right. So, but I want to deep dive on his comment here. Feminism is women demanding action by society, and MGTOW is men recoiling from contributing to a society that favors women and allows women to use the government as a weapon against men. I totally get that. And if you're a MGTOW and you see, you're obviously very anti-feminist and very pro MGTOW with that comment. And I would say I'm anti-feminist. I feel like feminism is, uh, cancerous and is very horrible ideology for women, and I'll say that, and they're like, oh, you don't believe in equals rights in for women. And it's like, no, that feminism doesn't need that anymore. There's a reason that they have studies and they have polls where they ask people like, do you believe in equal rights for women? And it's like obviously like 90% in the 90%. And then they ask, are you a feminist? And then it's like in the 30%. And it's obvious that that doesn't
Oh
mean
my
that.
God, 70% of women are sexist against
Yeah.
women. How terrible.
Yeah. And it's like, no, but they ask those questions because it's to prove a point that those two that doesn't mean the same thing anymore, right? It doesn't mean the equal rights anymore. So with this comment, the point of my title was saying how feminists and MGTOW are the same. So I was pointing out how it's a trend. Usually you have these feminists, they're very anti-man because they have a horrible relationship with men in their life, whether usually it's a father figure, uncle, shitty boyfriend, whatever. So they're very anti-man. And some MGTOW, not all, some MGTOW, but a lot of them I see, they have this resentment towards women because of something that happened with them. Obviously not all. There's obviously some MGTOW who they've, maybe had relationships and they realize that they want to be alone. And I kind of agree with you, Classy, in saying how it's not beneficial for you because at that point, you're not spreading your genes. I guess, I mean, you can be like, Cristiano Ronaldo, the soccer player. I mean, he's this, freaking millionaire, or I think he's a millionaire athlete stud. He can have any woman he wants. I mean, that's what he did. Like he sleeps with any girl he wants. And his first child, like, he wanted a son so bad, but he didn't want to deal with being with a woman. So he had a surrogate. He paid for a surrogate to have his kid. And it's like, yeah, I guess he can do that because he wants a son, but he doesn't want he doesn't want a mom, the mom for the child. Even though he eventually had his own kids the normal way with his current girlfriend. So I totally get that. That was the point of my title, right? The point of my title, because you have Snow Person here says clickbait title. All of my fucking video, all of my titles are clickbait. There's a reason why I make my titles as clickbait, because that is how you get people to click. That's how you get people to watch, right? And Justin says feminism equals man hate now. Yeah. I mean, that's how I see it. Like, you have a lot of people who are very resentful towards men, and that's why they identify as feminists and they say the dumb shit that they say. But let's continue to respond to these comments. So Eric Booth says, I might be gay, but I've seen some really horrible stuff happen to men in regards to relationships, whether actual relationships or business relationships. Women yield incredible power. All it takes is an accusation and a man's life can be ruined. Of course, hopefully in this stream, I wanted to talk about, are you familiar with the Henry Cavill situation, Classy?
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to talk about the Henry Cavill situation. and he basically says how he rather not like talk to women sometimes because and his comment granted was taken out of context like everything now in the media, but he doesn't want to be accused of being a rapist, and because that's the world we live in. Like people can be accused of anything and their life can be ruined. Like there's that guy who Chris Hardwick. Do you know the Chris Hardwick situation?
I'm not sure. The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, Chris Hardwick. He was on like G4 TV back in the day. He hosts these talk shows. Like he hosts Talking Bad, and
Oh yes, okay.
like the like after the Walking Dead, there's like this little
Yeah. Talking Dead,
Talking
Talking
Dead,
Bad. Yeah,
Talking Bad, Talking Dead. Yeah, right.
right.
So he was part of that, and he actually lost his job because a girl he was with posted this thing like hashtag me too. I don't know how it was me too, but posted this thing about how he was a shitty boyfriend and was very controlling and had these rules. And granted, in his defense, yeah, he was a shitty boyfriend, but she knew all of this going into the relationship because he was like that from the get-go. And she decided to make this article and I guess crucify him in the media because he had contributed to her being blackballed in the industry. So that's what you're talking about, Eric, about how an accusation can ruin a man's life. He says here, there's no recourse if the accusation is false. Myself, I've had 2 women try this in the business world. Had I been straight, I would have been fired. Then there is bias laws against men, more severe penalties for the same crimes, which leads to a 92% male incarceration rate. Anyone remember Deborah LaFave, the teacher in Tampa, too hot to go to jail for having sex with a 14-year-old? She gets time served and 2 years probation. Marriage and child custody are a losing battle. These are the reasons that a lot of my friends aren't dating or marrying. To be honest, I don't blame him. And like I said, I mean, I'm in that. I wouldn't call myself a MGTOW, but I'm very careful on who I call myself, who I would call a woman, my girlfriend. I'm going to be very, very picky, even though in the end, I do want to remarry and have kids eventually, live happily ever after. But, and I'm
Give
not.
me a sec. I'll be back.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, so I definitely understand that. And then he says here, Deborah LaFave. So yeah, there's also the teachers. How you have these hot ass teachers who like want to sleep with these young men, and you have these hot ass teachers who want to sleep with young men. They do it, and nothing happens to them. They just get a slap on the wrist, even though if it was a male teacher sleeps with a female student and they'll say that there's like a different power structure there and a different dynamic, and because of that, then the man would essentially be more punished because he holds more power because he's a man or whatever. So yeah, that's definitely I definitely agree with that, and anyone who doesn't see that is ridiculous. More severe penalties for the same crimes, which leads to a 92% male incarceration rate. Yeah, of course, the same thing. Yeah, I mean, men were more punished when it comes to the court system. It's very obvious. Women aren't treated the same. That's why feminists, they want to say we live in a patriarchy, even though men have all the jobs that are more dangerous. They're more likely to die on the job. They're more likely to have dangerous jobs. So it's very obvious that there's different standards when it comes to men and women, right? So these are the reasons a lot of my friends aren't dating or marrying. To be honest, I don't blame them. I don't blame them either. And there is the culture is kind of changing, and society is kind of changing, where we're having the freedom to choose. We're having the opportunities to do what we want. And back in the day, I mean, not too long ago now, you would have to get married, you would have to have a wife and have kids so they can work on the farm and they can provide for you. So obviously things have changed a lot. You don't really have to make that choice anymore. Class, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. And Black Lightning says here, MGTOW is the way to go. By Edward here says MGTOW is the way to go. Smash and pass, smash and pass. Hey, yeah, and for any young man out there who feels that way, like, yeah, go for it, man. If you know, I encourage that too. Like, yeah, sleep with as many girls as you can. Like, you know, go out there, live your life, be happy. You know,
Did you read Karen Moorhead's comment like
uh,
on the?
no, he'll be next. Yeah, he'll be next.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm gonna address him next.
okay.
So let me see here. Boom, boom, boom. Black Lightning also says, I can relate to clickbait titles. It's the only way to get views, unfortunately. Yeah, Black Lightning, you know how it is. You know, that's why the name of my fucking stream is Black People and Women Ruin Star Wars. I already said that at the beginning of the stream. So, you know, you have to be clickbaity to get views and to, you know, and when I made that video, I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew that I was starting a shit show. So, you know, that's why I did that. Classy, you there, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So yeah, we're going to address here Craven Moorhead. He says, as soon as you invited the clam on your show, it went downhill. It happens to every guy who puts women ahead of his work. How am I putting a woman ahead of my work? Because I had a female guest? Like, that's not me putting a woman ahead of my work. Like, what are you talking about? If you think I am the same as feminists, then tell me why millions of men have had their children, money, homes, jobs, and peace taken from them by a corrupt family court system. Of course, MGTOWs, they're going to go to the court system. I completely agree with you. I was pointing out the similarities between feminists and MGTOW when it comes to holding resentment. That's it. That's what I'm pointing to. You are a fool to think it won't happen to you, and it shows what a coward you are and a fake conservative that you would potentially... I'm exposed. That you would intentionally avoid understanding why MGTOW exists. I'm not intentionally avoiding why. I understand why MGTOW exists. I speak to MGTOW on Twitter. I understand why people are going MGTOW, and I respond to him too. Like, how am I guess I'll get to that in a little bit, but instead you just play the pussy beggar and play to women's feelings. There are huge reasons why men go MGTOW, but you would rather shame and think men are the problem. I'm not shaming men, and I don't think men or women are the problem. I think there's definitely crazy dynamics that exist nowadays that we're trying to...
It's a cultural problem. We do have a cultural problem though, but I wouldn't blame any of the sexes.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to blame all women just because feminists suck and there's crazy bitches out there and women are neurotic, you know, more neurotic by men. You know, there's a reason why, you know, they got estrogen in them, they go crazy. You know, you never been in a house with a woman on their period? Yeah, it's you know, there's reasons, right? So what was I saying? So yeah, and he calls me a fake conservative. So I reply to him, you know, doesn't a conservative want and seek value in having a wife and eventually having kids? You know, that doesn't really understand. I don't really understand why I'm a fake conservative. Like, how is a man going their own way, a MGTOW, a conservative? Like,
I mean, MGTOW essentially. I'm not trying to say that their ideology is exactly the same as feminists. Obviously, like they have different concerns and different goals, though. But I guess sort of if you want to talk about conservatism in terms of like tradition, having nuclear family, monogamy, that sort of stuff.
yeah,
MGTOW
that's the point.
MGTOW is against that though because what they want is just they want men to just be players and not exactly start a family, not have and be in a monogamous relationship for a long time. You know.
Right. And I like I said, I encourage if you're under, I mean, if you're below 30 years old or even 35 and you want to be a player, go for it. I encourage you to do that. And my problem too is that when I speak out against feminism also, you know, we talked about this on the stream with Right Wing Sista, and you kind of disagreed with me. The sexual dynamics have changed, right? Because with the invention of birth control back in the 60s, Well, I don't know if it was the 60s, 50s. That changed the game because now women had the chance to like sleep around and like sleep with a whole bunch of men. And they teach women. We're gonna watch a video too, real quick, talking about this, about slut shaming and stuff. Now they're saying like, oh, we're taking back the word of being a slut, and you know, they're encouraging, you know, like you have that show Sex in the City where it's like these women who like they're basically acting like men and sleeping around with a bunch of men, and they're trying to teach, they're trying to teach women that that's empowering and that they're powerful for doing that, even though studies have shown that that's not powerful. That women, the more sexual partners they have, it's harder for them in the future to hold a stable relationship. It's harder for them in the future to be happy, and because that's not the role a woman should play. You know, you can go ahead and do it, but science is against that kind of lifestyle, and you know, the science is out there. For men, it's completely different. Men, we're more physical creatures, and that's why, you know, we're just, you know, we'll fuck anything that moves. And that's why I'm encouraging, if you want to be MGTOW and smash and pass, like my buddy in the chat said, who he wants to do, go for it. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, and I encourage you to do that. However, it gets kind of old when you're still like a player in your 40s and you're in the club trying to pick up girls. I mean, if you're in your 40s, unless you're like your celebrity status or you're rich, you know, you can do that. Like, do you know who James Harden is? Do you know who James Harden is?
I'm not sure.
James Harden, he's the basketball player on the Houston Rockets. He has that huge beard. Yeah, if you don't know him, hopefully, you know, people who are watching know him. So James Harden, you know, yeah, he's baller status. You know, he doesn't have a girlfriend, and or I don't know if he has a girlfriend or not, but he like pays this Instagram model. Like he signed a contract with this let me get off camera so real quick, or on camera rather. James Harden signed a contract with an Instagram model and literally just pays to have sex with her, where he flies her out and just to sleep with him, and then she has to leave. She's basically like a prostitute, and you know, he made her sign a contract where
It's not legal.
that's what I'm saying. Who knows? It's not, I guess it's not prostitution. But I don't know. You know, prostitution is illegal, but he made her sign a contract saying that, you know, she can't go against anything. Like he's protected from any legal recourse, and that's the stage that we're in now, where we're literally men and like ballers. You know, these high, you know, high rollers, but NBA players in this case, and he's, you know, James Harden is an NBA player, millionaire. He has to fucking make a contract to where there's not going to be any legal recourse against him because of how crazy it is now with this system, with this whole Me Too thing and everything. So, like I said, hopefully I'm showing you guys that I understand why this exists and why there's our MGTOW. I wasn't trying to put MGTOWs down. So we'll go back here to respond to the rest of the comments, because and any of you guys here too, if you're watching and you want to come on the channel, you're more than welcome, and we'll have like a debate or something. Like, you're fine. So after I said something to him, he said, "I'd love to be on your show. The issue is you have already made up your mind." I haven't made up my mind. Being a conservative is about being honest and having integrity to admit you may not know integrity to admit you may not know, not just getting married. If you need to be educated so much, then why did you make a video full of assumptions as if you already understood, only to embarrass yourself for having the audacity to project the misunderstanding onto us? I'm not projecting any misunderstanding. Like I said, I made one single point on how I see feminists and MGTOW. They have that resentment towards the opposite sex. Marriage is not about submitting to the emotional whims of your wife, nor is it seeking approval from a woman. It is a union supposedly to be, oh shit, you made a lot here. It is a union supposedly to be made in mutual respect, that the two of you can trust each other enough to be honest, and that no matter what course you take, whether by whim or by God, the other believes in you and you in them enough to be to not be fearful but faithful. Yeah, I completely agree. Like, we shouldn't. We live in a crazy relation dynamic now where men and women, if they're in a relationship, they have to kind of like have power moves with one another and hide things from each other. And because they're out to have, they're fearful with each other because one might cheat, one might not cheat, and that's a fucked up system. You cannot on one hand say you want to find the truth when the other have your understanding of something given to you because you are too afraid to be honest with someone you love. The same woman who whispered this nonsense about MGTOW in your ear. What are you talking about? Do you not think it's dangerous and unfair what has happened to men? No, I completely agree. I do think it's unfair. Men, we have it harder. We have it harder when it comes to the law and the court systems. There's no doubt about that. If someone tries to say that's not true, let me see here. That I completely understand that. Let me see here. Do you not think why should men get married and have children just to lose it all? I think it's important for men to have children to produce their offspring. I think that even though I don't have kids, I think kids, it gives you reason to live, and it's a happy thing. It's it's a benefit. It's only but a benefit in someone's life. You are placating to your wife, and I don't have a wife. And instead of challenging her and yourself, apparently this guy thinks that the guest was my wife. When no, instead of challenging her and yourself to stand up and admit you may not know, you instead took the coward's path and sought approval from a woman and not from the desire.
Oh, come on.
Desire and willingness of understanding. How can you be in an honest union if you would rather want approval from her instead of doing what brought you to this point? Asking questions, seeking answers. I'm here asking questions, dude. I'm here asking questions. I'm not placating. I'm not. Apparently, you thought that was my wife. That wasn't my wife. That was a guest who happened to be a woman.
What did she say in that video? Whatever.
Yeah, that he's not paying attention, but it's all good. I'm still gonna respect him. You cannot on one hand say you want to find the truth, and with the other have your understanding of something given to you because you are too afraid to be honest with someone you love. The same woman who whispered this I think I already read this. Millions of good conservative women have abandoned their families for government handouts. Yeah, that's fucked up. Yeah, that's what's ruined the Black community and the single mothers in the Black community. Rather than move forward with this, you intentionally ignore it to not offend your sensitive little wife. Yeah, he thought this person, Yo Mama, was my wife. Even if I came on your show, I think you would already have made up your mind about me and millions of other men. You have become what you detest, and you are too in love with your wife to see it. What happened to you, man? Revenge of the Dreamer turned into capitulation of delusion. Oh, I like that little play on words there. You were acting like the crazy lefties we have seen you criticize. How am I acting like a lefty? I want this guy to go jump on the stream. Men owe women. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying like later, like not on this stream. Like, if someone's in the chat, if any of you guys are responding in the chat,
yeah, we have Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. I have a Twitter, classy @_.
Yeah, all the social media links are below, guys. Classy, my Twitter. If you can DM me on Twitter, and I'm open to anybody. Like I'm ready to have anyone on the stream.
We'll have a MGTOW stream one day.
Yeah, there's a YouTuber on here who's a MGTOW. He said that he would want to go on the show. I think that would be maybe a next week's show. We can do that. Yeah. Let me see here.
Wait, you have Sandman on?
Sandman?
Yes, he's like the biggest MGTOW on YouTube.
No, I didn't say Sandman. Let me finish. Let me finish this real quick. Men owe women in society nothing. It does not mean we don't care, but we have built this world only to have it break up our lives and lobby openly against us. So real quick, before I continue, this kind of mentality is what I'm against. You're saying that I'm a lefty. That's kind of the left's mindset where you believe society is out to get you and, the system is out to get you. No. like if you don't want to get fucked by the court and family laws and stuff, don't get married. Yeah, just don't get married. You know, I'm not saying, hey, I am saying that marriage is it's supposed to be the most happiest route for people, but I will say that it's not the best route for everybody, for men and women. And if you're so fearful, just don't get married. And we should try to change the laws, but don't have this mentality like, woe is me, the society is out to get me, right? The saddest part is I did have a family. I have a son. You see, he's 6, and I don't know what he looks like because 3 years ago he was taken from me by a good conservative woman. You make me sick with your newfound embrace of arrogance and cowardice. Aren't those like oxymorons? Like I can be arrogant and be a coward. Does that make
Arrogant
sense?
coward. That's a new thing now.
I think those things like are kind of mutually exclusive. I bet you will delete this comment and laugh us off. No, I will never delete any comments.
We're responding to you.
Yeah,
We're giving you feedback,
yeah,
giving you
I'm,
criticism.
yeah. I mean, you typed this all out. I was like, whoa, this is a lot of stuff. And dude, I sympathize with you. Uh, I sympathize with you with having your son taken away. Like I said, I don't have kids. I have been divorced, and if I did have kids in that divorce, I'm sure it would have been that much tougher. Because yeah, I do know women. They do. A lot of women use kids. Some women will see kids, and it's like, you know what? No matter what happens between me and the father, I will let the father have time with the kids because that is their father. But some women are very resentful and will like hide the kids from the dad because she's a bitch and wants to punish the dad, and even though that's hurting her kid. And it sounds like that's what happened to you. So, dude, I'm sorry, and I sympathize with you that that's happened. Um, and like, if you want to talk about it, dude, we can talk about it. Um, I bet you will delete this comment and laugh us off. I'm not laughing you off. I don't smoke, drink, gamble. I'm gainfully employed, and every day my life is a living, weeping hell. It feels like I'm dying, not seeing my beautiful boy. Um, dude, I honestly completely empathize with you, and I'm very sorry that that is your situation. I was talking to a coworker of mine today, and he's talking about how he had to go on like a business trip for a week, or he's going to go on a business trip in a week for a week. And for a week, he has to be away from his son. I think his son's 4 or 5 years old, or might be a little younger than that. And he said that last time he had to like be away from his son, he started crying in front of his son, and his son started wiping away his tears. Um, so I definitely know how it is, but the relationship between a father and a son, dude. And I completely empathize with you. I'm not here trying to laugh you off and say that your story and your history is irrelevant. I completely empathize with you. Finally, the only one really offended is you. You know I have a point, and rather than hear my words, you have become offended for the supposed honor of your wife. I'm not offended, and this person wasn't my wife. She is not you, and you were informing yourself of issues long before you brought her on now, and you have just become lazy and entitled. So entitled, you think you can act like a leftist and still keep your subs. I don't care about keeping subs. I'm, I'm, oh, a bad YouTuber is someone who like makes videos and like placates to someone because of they want to keep their subscribers. No, like if you love me, great. If you guys are enjoying the stream so far, please like it. I appreciate you guys being here, and I totally get it. I totally get it with all these people being upset at me, but I'm always gonna be controversial. Like I'm gonna be controversial till fucking YouTube kicks me off. Till they ban my channel, delete my channel, I will be controversial. And I decided to make this video to still be controversial and it to make you guys click the video and watch. And you did. And even if you disliked it, that is an engagement on my video. So thank you. And now, you're accusing me of acting like a leftist, but I don't see it. Dude, if you want to jump on the stream, your comment is here. I responded to the whole comment. If you want to talk about your story live, I mean, you don't have to show your face. A lot of people are worried.
I just want to say something.
Yeah, go
So
ahead. Go ahead.
to the comment, what's the other dude?
Craven Moorhead.
Yeah, Craven Moorhead. I really feel for you, man. I mean, what you've gone through is absolutely terrible. And no person should ever go through that, though. But you have to understand that there are men out there that are married to women and that are happy. So I understand you went through something that was really bad, and your life was negatively impacted, but that you can't use that to sort of tell people how they should view women. You're talking about a really small, a significant, but still a minority of women, though. Most people just want to be happy. Most people, they just want to find someone that they can, cuddle with and eventually live the rest of their lives together happily. So it sucks that
Yeah,
this happens, and it sucks that society has a double standard with men. Right, sure, but you shouldn't use that to sort of um, discourage people from pursuing what how possible happiness.
right. Yeah, yeah, and Craven, man, if you're watching or if you watch this clip when I upload it later, yeah, man, let's talk. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have to, I guess, this is obviously a very sensitive subject, but if you want to talk about it, I understand your perspective. Your perspective is someone who you're saying that you live a living hell because you can't see your kid. Um, Dude, I'm so sorry, man. I can't even imagine having to live like that. And I definitely understand why you feel like how you feel. So at the end of the day, dude, I understand how you feel because I know what you've been through. Um, let's see here. Uh, I guess I'll respond to just like all of us. I'll try to respond to all the comments, but uh sounds like parasites. A little extortion from the legal racket will show him the way. Guys showing off their new boats are miserable. LOL. So yeah, that's the comment when I was saying that if you go to like the MGTOW subreddit, they're constantly saying how, well, they're showing and they post pictures of like, oh yeah, now we're happy because we have we have they're posting pictures of these boats or cars and like, yeah, I could have never got this with being with a woman. And I when I see that stuff, it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, okay, like money doesn't buy happiness, right? And if you're happy with having a boat and having a car and you can have all this money to do whatever you want, that's great. And if you want to live that way, that's great. That's what's awesome about America, and we're free to spend our money and do what we want and live how we want, right? Um, so that's what I was saying, is that in my women, money doesn't buy happiness. That's all I'm saying. Dreamer, I just watched this vid and the title is crappy clickbait. Isn't all clickbait crappy?
We've
Like,
already addressed that. Come on.
yeah, I know. I mean, I'm tired. And shout out to Justin here in the chat. He says, keep on being controversial. It's the only way to get the truth out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm controversial because that is what gets views too. I mean, you gotta play with the algorithm. I understand what is going to make people click. What is what's going to make people click on a video. And it's clickbait. And my clickbait isn't like, oh, first 5 minutes of Avengers, the new Avengers movie, and then you click on it and it's like a link to a survey. Like, no, that's not what my clickbait is. My clickbait is like having egregious titles to really sell my idea, right? So he says here, the content is even worse. I mean, the subjective personal experience are yours to suffer from them as much as you want, but the personal growth and the conclusions are at a too low level, really low. Feminism originated back in the day when women had little to no rights. They couldn't vote, couldn't own properties, couldn't learn, couldn't work, and were much the property of their husbands. In that context, feminism was more than justified to advocate and fight for women's rights. Now, today, they legally have the same rights as men, so feminists are fighting microaggressions like manspreading and too long of a look. Today at workplaces, most physical contents are forbidden and equal to rape if a woman is involved. That illustrates today's state of society, which is at crybabies, immature youngs these days in Western societies expect to be taken care of and any need and win. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. We talked about this, how Feminism has completely changed. You know, we don't need feminism anymore. Women have all the same rights men have, and even more rights to a certain extent. You know, they don't have to be drafted and so many other things. Our grand, all right, is that true about the drafting? Do you know about that, Classy?
What about the drafting?
Like women, they don't have to register for the draft, right?
They don't have to, but I think
Because I know men it's like required, but women it's not
men
required.
is required, yes. But I think I don't know. Maybe it was in another country, but I know somewhere they actually were gonna pass a law that women are gonna be required to go to the draft. But I think as of now, men are required.
Yeah, yeah, and I know too. Like in Israel, like men or women, you have to serve at least like 6 months or a year in the army and stuff. And it's right, right. So just finishing up his comment here, our grandparents had to grow in between world wars. They had no time to grow and were a byproduct of a broken society. They had to mature ASAP and grow up. Of course, they were faulted and rough. However, that excuse that my grandparents traumatized my granny is on its last days. What else are they going to come up with to perpetuate the victim mentality, these feminists? You wish to connect and relate to a woman, well, good luck, buddy, because feminism turned women into liabilities with all that gender laws and shit. And just to kind of go against what you're saying here, Juan, um, a lot of women, I mean, not all women are feminists in the sense that you're talking about. A lot of women are rejecting feminism because
Women
they,
does not equal feminism.
yeah, not all. Yeah, exactly. Women does not equal feminist. Not all women are feminists. I wish to connect and relate to a woman. Yeah, I love women. Yeah, women. I love being with women. Like who doesn't? You know, that's the thing too with MGTOW. It's like looking at porn and jerking off. Like that gets old very quick. You know, and if you want to go out there and just sleep with women, I encourage you to do that more than staying home and jerking off. You know, at least go out there. You know, go for the hunt. You know, we are men are primal in nature, and we want to go out there and hunt for women. So, he says here, it doesn't matter how honest and good you are. The legal system is rigged against men today, thanks to feminism, and men are guilty by default. That is perceived by most males since school. That's why one reason these generations are plagued by depression, and we have to be medicated so young. This happened in Europe decades ago, and how are they today? Are they happily forever married? Is there no divorce? Are females happy without worry? Are males happy and without worry? Are kids well grown and well balanced? How much has feminism accomplished for Europe? The only long-term solution to this kind of problem is consciousness, maturity to self-cultivate and grow as an individual and as a society. Anything else is but a temporary patch that might solve one issue, but will eventually create other issues. Good luck. So yeah, Juan, I appreciate your comment. Yeah, I think that I guess one thing I can address here, and Classy, like you know me, I like to rant. So if you want to jump in, man, just interrupt me, please. Please interrupt me. Um, Let me see here. You heard me, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
understand.
All right. Cool. Cool. Um. So why are people medicated so young? Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I feel like I completely understand. Everything is rigged against men. That's the truth. Look at the school system. That's why so many young boys are misdiagnosed as being ADHD because women and boys learn you know
Learn differently.
yeah girls and boys learn differently. Girls can sit in a classroom, stay still, and that's why they try to say like, oh yeah, girls, they have better grades than boys. Well, not really. Christina Hoff Sommers, who's like a legit feminist, she wrote a book that's titled The War on Boys, and talks about that's why they say, and talks about how behavior was then resulted into to your grades. So little boys are punished if they don't listen to the teacher, or they're rambunctious and they have a lot of energy. They get punished because they can't still stay still, and that is put against their grades. So they get lower grades because of behavior problems, right? And that's completely unfair. And that's why there's this perceived thing like, oh yeah, girls are smarter than boys or whatever, right? Um, and
IQ is about the same, by the way.
what's that?
There's no IQ difference between men and women. It's exactly the same.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, men and women. We have different brains. We're completely different creatures. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. We complement each other.
But it's
But
just that academic performance isn't doesn't academic performance isn't necessarily the same as intelligence. Is my point.
right. Yeah. Definitely. And the thing is that what I was saying is that the whole school system is rigged against boys. That's why all these young kids are medicated with Adderall because you have these little kids, these usually it's young men, young boys who are medicated with Adderall, these prescriptions for Adderall when excuse me, I had to burp. They have these Adderall prescriptions and they're taking these freaking harsh drugs because they can't sit still. Even though, like I said, the school system isn't set up to teach young men the same way. Young men and girls, we learn differently, and that's why, yeah, they're medicated. Let me see here. Are females happy and without worry? Are males happy and without worry? Are kids well grown and well balanced? How much has feminism accomplished for Europe? Yeah, they're trying to switch gender roles, and I feel like it's only a negative. I completely agree with you that it's just a completely negative in society. You're talking about Europe. You probably live in Europe. The same thing in America. Um, in the chat here, let me see here. Edward says most of MGTOW have had horrible runs with women, divorced and taken for everything. But you can't bash someone for not being MGTOW. We're all different, dude. I'm not. Yeah, man. I'm not bashing you for being MGTOW. Quite the opposite. I completely empathize with MGTOW, and most of them have had horrible experiences with women, and that's why they're MGTOW. And I'm not bashing them. I'm not there pointing my finger and laughing like, ha ha. That's the last thing I want to do, especially with Craven here. He lives in hell. He personally says in his own words that he lives in hell because he can't see his son. That must be a shitty experience. And in no way I'm trying to bash him and make fun of him. In fact, I want to do the opposite. Justin says here, personally, I don't want my daughters to be drafted. If they want to serve in the military, I'd rather it be by choices. I'm very protective of my girls, so I admit I'm talking emotionally. Yeah, of course, I agree with that. I agree that women. I agree that women shouldn't be drafted. And he's Edward saying, I was agreeing with you. I feel like they're being a little harsh on you, dude. Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. I'm just responding to your comment, man. It's I appreciate you for watching the stream, and it's all good here. These are all discussions. Just when this kind of stuff happens, when there's a backlash, I don't curl away. I don't want to hide. I'm literally responding to it on stream because that's how I am. I'm completely transparent. And if I'm in the wrong, I'm in the wrong. Like I'm not here saying like I'm always right. I'm not always right. We're all, we can be, who knows? I might have a debate with a MGTOW next week and he might convert me and I'll go MGTOW. Who knows? I'm keeping all the doors open, all the possibilities out here open. Right. And you also say here, you can still have a girlfriend, you can still date. So yeah, I don't know too much about MGTOW, obviously. You can still have a girlfriend, you can still date, or maybe everyone has different rules, but um, so yeah.
But not
Um,
all MGTOWs are the same. Like I have seen some other MGTOW channels, and some of them, they just talk about men issues, and I don't really have a problem with that. In fact, I think that's a good thing. My problem with that is that okay, maybe whatever. I don't know because I don't know. I don't know even if there is like a standard MGTOW. I just know that there are YouTube channels talking about this. I don't know if there's a MGTOW book that they follow or even if they follow it. But regardless, though, when I mean that like MGTOW is like not anti-women, but like they don't have a good view of women. They're very cynical of women. Any
right,
many most of these like MGTOW videos, they always talk about the bad experiences they had with women, and it gives like a really bad impression of who women are as human beings. So
right,
the ideology may not necessarily be anti-women. Maybe yeah, they are allowed to date or they could date whatever. But a lot of them do show this sort of negative view when it comes to female.
Right.
And I would disagree with that view.
Yeah,
I would disagree with a negative view against men, because it could go both ways. I can talk about a girl who might have been raped or sexually assaulted when she was in high school, and maybe like she's had like a series of like unsuccessful relationships. She's been cheated on.
right,
Would it be logical for her to have whatever negative view against men regarding her circumstance? I mean, I'm not saying that the view is logical, um,
right,
but I'm just saying though that it's understandable why someone like that would hold those views. So, like, you can't use your individual experience. I'm repeating myself, but whatever. I'm gonna repeat myself again. You can't use your individual experience to dictate how other people should live their lives.
right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, everyone has an experience. I've had, like I said, I've had the worst experience when it comes to um, with women. And like I said, I recently went through a divorce, and it sucks. And but I'm not going to use that experience to judge all women, right? We'll wrap up here. There's just two more comments. So Crod7435 says, I was thinking about being a MGTOW, but I don't know how they're the same with feminists. I would say MGTOWs have an agenda to promote some menist beliefs, but I think it's more conservative to have men take responsibility to not be controlled by women. I don't understand how that's conservative, but okay. I don't want feminists telling me what to do, and I can be arrested for manspreading. LOL. Not saying it will happen, but I don't want to see that in reality. Love you, man. Crod, I appreciate you for commenting, man. And you're saying that you're thinking about being a MGTOW, and some of them do have menaced beliefs. I don't think MGTOW are completely, they're not ruining society the same way feminists
No, I
are.
mean the thing is about MGTOW. Well, I don't like the views of MGTOW, and I do might find some of the views harmful. They don't have the reality is that they don't have the significance feminists do. Feminists, they have entire schools dedicated to feminism. We have feminist ideologies. We have entire sections of colleges, departments dedicated to feminism. Many subjects are
Oh yeah, I mean
dealing with
it's
feminism.
completely unfair.
MGTOWs, it's just some dudes on certain threads and forums, whatever. They don't have uh, any significance in today's culture.
Well, I think MGTOW is kind of like an underground kind of online thing of just men taking a stand for themselves and saying, hey, you know what, we're going our own way. We don't want to be with women. Women
Yeah.
are the
I'm
problem.
just saying, like the MGTOW ideology is harmful at an individual level, not at a societal level, because they're not popular. They don't have any like no one knows what a MGTOW is. Only us, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, not no one. Like when you say that, I know what you mean, but I just want to clarify for the audience. Just in the general sense, like you're saying, feminists, like you have people get feminist degrees, women study degrees. Like, what the fuck are you doing? That's obviously something that's mainstream in society. MGTOW is not as mainstream in society, and that's I think what you're trying to say. So I just want to clarify that before we get blasted in the comments. So, he says here, I get what your last comment here by Blackheart says, I get what you're saying, Dreamer, but I think you are dead wrong. MGTOW is a reaction to real discrimination against men, not only in relationships, but in Western society in general. The West is decaying, and I would say that MGTOW guys have more in common with the herbivore men of Japan than feminism. Relationship values are different in South America and Eastern Europe. Yeah, and I was talking about that with my friend about how in Japan, people are having less and less kids. And I don't know, like sexuality is just is really different in Japan and in certain Asian countries as well. Especially Japan. Japan is really weird. I've always wanted to go to Japan, but when it comes to their sexual culture, like that's why like in the Japanese pornos, they have the dicks like blurred out because it's like a it's like very shameful, right? And that's why they have like these schoolgirls and guy, in these cartoons and these hentai pornos, they'll have these like Japanese schoolgirls with skirts and stuff and like schoolgirl outfits, and you have men like, peering up their skirt, and they're like, oh, don't do that, and it's like playful, and it's like this kind of shame culture. In Asian culture, there's a lot of like shame, like that's why they have that famous thing with Japanese, like you shame our family, a lot of shame. You can shame a family, So yeah, every culture is different, and I can only speak to our culture and our westernized culture. So that's the last comment there. If any MGTOWs are watching and would like to jump on the show one day and we can talk about this, let's definitely do it. And I'm not here trying to bash you guys and say that you guys are wrong. If you're a MGTOW and you decided to go and be that way, man, I completely understand that. The whole point of that video, just to wrap this up, is just me saying that, the similarities that I see with feminists and MGTOWs is that they have resent towards the opposite sex. That's it. I'm not saying like completely feminists and MGTOWs are the same. No, that's just, like I said, how I title my videos, to clickbait it, to make you guys click. I did make you guys clicked. You guys downvoted it. So that's why I did that. So, but I guess we can move on here to speaking about men and relationships and everything. Have you ever seen Jesse Lee Peterson and his videos, like with slut shaming? Like he goes to the slut walks.
I mean, I've seen Jesse Lee Peterson in general. I haven't seen all of his content, so I don't know if I've seen I don't think I've seen a slut walk.
Do you know what a slut walk is?
Yeah, it's just like one of these parades and events where essentially women go out there, show off their body, and say, "Hey, look, we're proud to be sluts. We're proud to be whores.
Right.
This is who we are." Mm.
So here's a video about Jesse Lee Peterson. I'm going to play this here, and yeah, we're going to kind of respond to this.
Yes, we are all sluts. You're a slut. All these dudes behind you are sluts. Your cameraman's a slut. Your PA is a slut. And your mic's a slut.
And what made you a slut?
Because I own my body. My body is not a political playground. It's not a place for legislation. It's mine, and it's my future. And
how old are you?
Yeah, so there's this whole thing now with these feminists where it's like, I own my body. That's the argument that they framed, that she's probably talking about abortion, where it's like, I own my body and I don't want any white man making laws about abortion. It's like, all right, lady.
Yeah. Grown. And so you sleep around with a lot of men?
No, actually, I'm a virgin.
You're a virgin?
Yeah.
So you're not a slut?
Yes, you can be a slut. Because a slut is not what you made it, Jesse. A slut is what I made it. A boss, getting money, taking the mic, turning life around, taking over Hollywood.
So yeah, they're trying to frame this where it's like a slut. They're taking back the word, and it's going to mean something different now. I really don't understand what's the point of it, but
wait, where's that? No, just keep playing. Forget about it.
Well, what is it?
No, just keep playing. I'll comment on it later.
All right.
So you are still a virgin, but yet you call yourself a slut.
It wouldn't matter. I'm saying it doesn't matter if I'm a virgin. It doesn't matter what a woman's sexual history is. A slut is just a word that you and your fellow penises made. A slut. Your mama's a slut. Your grandma's a slut. Everybody.
Is your mother a slut?
My mama ain't a slut. Don't be talking about my mama.
Oh my God, the sleuths are everywhere.
No, but yours is.
Your mother's not a slut?
No.
But you say every woman's a slut.
Everybody.
Why your mother's not a slut?
You are a slut. Not my mother in particular, not a slut, but a slut is a word for anybody who's owning their sexuality, turning up, and not letting Jesse twist their answers around.
So let me ask, I noticed are you dressed slutty today?
No, I'm dressed like a woman.
What made you decide to come out looking like this? You look like a slut. What made you do it?
You look like a slut.
What made you dress?
What made you dress like this?
No, just answer that question. What made you?
I dress like this because I can dress whatever I want to.
Yeah, that's all it's about. It's like, I can do what I want. I want to do what I want. That's all it's about. And then she's like, oh, well, why do you? She's not answering the questions, but so.
Sure. I like the responses. Though.
Let me ask you,
What is it?
The responses are funny though.
Yeah, she's apparently like famous on Instagram, and like this video kind of went viral on World Star, and that's why I'm reacting to it.
Yeah.
You know, but and you have people in the comments thinking that she like owned Jesse in this clip, and it's like she didn't own shit. She's just being a contrarian. She's just like, oh yeah, slut means something different now. She's changing the definition of a word. Like, oh, good for you.
Let
me ask you, do you believe in God?
Yes, Jesse.
God?
Would God want you to be a slut?
God will want me to be whatever I want to be.
So she won't answer the question.
He will want me to be whatever I want to be. Whatever I want to be.
And why would he want you to be a slut?
He want me to be whatever I want to be because God believes in choice. And you should know that, Jesse. That's why you're allowed to wear this lame ass shirt.
Would your parents be happy knowing that you're a slut?
My parents will be happy to know that I'm a free woman on a billboard in Times Square in Soho for every real because we take back the woman form and we ain't lame dudes like Jesse wearing striped shirts.
Thank you so much. I wish you.
Yeah, so that was that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean this is what our society has boiled down to. I mean, what's your reaction to that?
Oh my god, those sleuths have taken over. I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. It's just too many sleuths.
Sleuths.
Yeah, just too many sleuths around, too many thoughts.
Too many
I
thoughts.
think I'm gonna have to go to like some really conservative country. You know, I might have to go to, I don't know, Saudi Arabia, or maybe I could just go to Russia, find a regular conservative woman. I'm just joking, by the way. I'm exaggerating.
Yeah, I figured. There's another video here that I want to watch with him. You know, I really like Jesse Lee Peterson and like the content he makes. There's another video here where he's confronting these Latino women. Let me see here. Jesse Lee Peterson.
Are they sleuths as well?
Yeah.
Comment down below if you're a sleuth and proud.
Is this the one?
No shaming being a sleuth.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to find it because I just saw it on Twitter, so I don't know if I saw it on the same one there. But yeah, I mean, it's the slut walks. You know, he goes there and they're just trying to change the definition of being a slut. So I really don't understand what they're trying to do. But all right, so we're gonna have our last story of the night here, which is let me see here.
Oh my god, the guest never showed up. We're gonna have to change the title of the stream.
I already changed it. He messaged me here. He couldn't show up because something happened. He got like stranded, he said. So we'll have another Star Wars stream. But I guess this is our final story. Let me put my headphones in. But we're going to talk about Henry Cavill. Are you familiar with what happened with Henry Cavill?
Yeah.
You are familiar?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys aren't familiar, most of you watching are probably familiar if you keep up with this stuff, but Henry Cavill has been crucified. I guess we'll read the story. Henry Cavill apologizes after Me Too backlash. So, the Man of Steel star was talking to the magazine about his thoughts on the current Me Too movement. He said, "Stuff has to change, absolutely, in terms of men's behavior. It's important to retain the good things, which were a quality of the past, and to get rid of the bad things. There's something wonderful about a man chasing a woman. There's a traditional approach to that, which is nice. I think a woman should be wooed and chased, but maybe I'm old-fashioned for thinking that." So even before we get to the next words, if he had just said what he just said there, he's going to be seen as sexist because he believes in a traditional approach. And the traditional approach is that, you know, a woman, you know, they're not going to be the ones to approach the man. You know, the men are the ones that need to approach the woman. And that's how it's been for centuries. That's how it is. That's how we are biologically made. We have certain gender roles that we follow, and it's not society doing it. It's not the patriarchy. It's literally biology. Our biology determines this. You know, we have certain sexual and relationship roles, and it's all due to biology. So, but this is what
biology is a social construct, though, by the heteronormative patriarchy. So I don't know if I would agree with that.
Yeah. I don't think you agree with that. he says here, it's very difficult to do that if there are certain rules in place. Because it's, so then he says, because then it's like, well, I don't want to go up and talk to her because I'm going to be called a rapist or something. So you're like, forget it. I'm going to call an ex-girlfriend instead and just go back to a relationship which never worked. But it's way safer than casting myself into the fires of hell because I'm going in the public eye. If I go and flirt with someone, who knows what's going to happen? So yeah, he got basically crucified online for saying that, because he said, I don't want to go and talk to her because I'm going to be called a rapist or something. And then there's people saying here, so here's some people responding to him. Henry Cavill's a whole idiot. The whole Me Too movement has him scared. Someone may call him a rapist. Just don't rape anyone, Henry. And I hate comments like that, because it's like, we don't live in a society where the rapists who actually rape people are the ones getting punished. We live in a society now where any woman, anytime, can accuse a man of sexual harassment or of rape, because now the word rape is like an umbrella term that can mean anything. Like, you know, they're teaching now in universities that you can retract consent. Like, if you regret a sexual encounter, you can basically say that you are raped because you're taking the consent after the fact. You know?
Oh yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. You already made your decision. Come on.
Yeah,
You're gonna
exactly.
ruin someone's life.
Yes, so this person wants to frame the argument where it's like, just don't rape anyone. And it's like, no, the men whose lives are being ruined by rape accusations usually didn't rape anyone. You know, so to act like that is what, you know, to act like that's what the argument is ridiculous. So here's another comment, I think from Twitter. Things that make me go, what the fuck? If you're approaching to chasing and or talking to a woman, leaves you to be afraid of a woman might accuse you of rape or sexual assault, this leads me to question your definition of chasing women. Someone else said here, and this, I think this is a guy who said this. So this is the white knight male feminist who says, Henry Cavill is trash. It's pretty easy not to rape someone. All right, yeah, good for you, buddy. I'm sure that's what he's saying.
I'm doing it right now. I'm not raping anyone. So yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Rape means. Rape doesn't mean. That's what I'm saying. They're changing the definitions. They're changing the definitions of being a slut. A slut can mean anything. They're taking back the word. You know, they changed the definition of racism. Now they've changed the definition of rape too. So, you know, this new definition of rape we're trying to talk about, where accusations can crucify you. That's what we're talking about. And then you guys go back to the old definition where it's like, no, just don't rape anyone, or only a rapist would say that. And he had to apologize for this, which is bullshit. He said he released a statement to CNN saying, having seen the reaction to an article in particular about my feelings on dating in the Me Too movement, I just wanted to apologize for any confusion and misunderstanding that this may have created. So yeah, he's not apologizing for his words. He's just apologizing for the confusion and misunderstanding. And Henry Cavill too. I mean, he's like he's a gentleman. Like, he's like this dude is like the last person who
one of these British sirs, you know.
Yeah, these people, they want to crucify. You know, they want to crucify. They want to make enemies out of non-enemies. You know, it's like, you're going after Henry Cavill of all people. Like, come on. So he says, insensitivity was absolutely not my intention. In light of this, I would just like to clarify and confirm to all that I have always and will continue to hold women in the highest of regard, no matter the type of relationship, whether it be a friendship, professional, or significant other. And I hate that we live in a society now where he even has to say this. Any guy would say this. Any man would, any logical, respectful man will have this position. So now we live in a society where he has to say this. Isn't that fucking obvious? Isn't that common sense that he will always continue to hold women in the highest of regard? But because of these comments, because he's criticizing, as he should, the Me Too movement and how it's fucked and how any woman can accuse a man of anything now, you know, he's talking about that, and he has to come and say this common sense thing because, you know, we have to kowtow to the emotional crybabies on social media. So he wraps up here saying, never would I intend to disrespect in any way, shape, or form. This experience has taught me a valuable lesson as to the context and the nuance of editorial liberties. I look forward to clarifying my position in the future towards a subject that is so vitally important and which I wholeheartedly support. So yeah, apparently Henry Cavill is a piece of shit, and yeah. So yeah, and to kind of piggyback on this, you know who Brie Larson is?
No.
Brie Larson, she's this, I guess I'm screen sharing still. She's gonna play Captain Marvel in the MCU movie.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, she's gonna play Captain Marvel, and she kind of got some notoriety on Twitter last year. This kind of is relevant at the moment because Henry Cavill says, let me get his exact statement. He says, there's something wonderful about a man chasing a woman. There's a traditional approach to that, which is nice. I think a woman should be wooed and chased, but I'm old fashioned for thinking that. As men, that's what we have to do. As men, we have to go through so many no's before we get a yes with a woman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Any man, any guy out there, you know that you got to shoot your shot. You got to shoot your shot. You got to go at bat. You got to ask, you know, you got to be willing to ask as many women as possible because most of them are going to say no.
Yeah.
Right.
If a man wants a date, they have to put in the effort. If a woman wants a date, all they have to do is exist. Because eventually a man is just gonna ask them out. May not be the guy they want, you know, maybe an unattractive fellow or an uncharismatic fellow, but eventually just by existing, some lad somewhere's gonna ask them out. Whereas a guy, very low chance, even in today's society, modern society, that a girl's gonna ask them out. They have to actually be charismatic, be a kind person, be cool, and ask them
Be
out.
funny. Be funny.
Oh yes.
I've said it in previous streams. If you can make a girl laugh, like genuinely laugh, I mean, you're halfway there. You know, that's my advice.
Send memes. Send many memes.
Yeah, send memes, share memes. Girls love memes. I was shooting the shit with some girls today, talking about that new Cardi B meme. You know that you know that meme, right?
Oh.
The meme with the girl and she's holding her hand on her hip. You seen that one?
I don't. That's a normie meme. I don't. No.
That's a normie meme. You call me a normie?
Yeah. Oh shoot.
So, yeah. So Henry Cavill talks about, yeah, we as men we have to chase women. You know, women aren't going to be the ones chasing men. You know, and I think I've seen a tweet before that said if a woman has to chase a man, she doesn't want to do that because if she's doing that, she feels at that point, if she has to be in that position to do that, she feels like the man doesn't like her and that she has to chase him. And, you know, it's not the role of a woman to do that. Right. So the reason I bring this up is because last year, Brie Larson, she, let me see here. She was complaining. She tweeted this here. Brie Larson. She tweeted saying, I merely smiled at a TSA agent and he asked for my phone number. To live life as a woman is to live life on the defense. And it's like, fuck off.
God, women are so oppressed in society. Like they can't even like go 2 steps out of the door without some dude asking for her phone number. You know, it's not like she could just reject.
Yeah,
And
just say no. It's not the end of the world for you. You know, what amazes me is that you have these gorgeous, beautiful women who complain about being asked for their number, who complain about being complimented. You know, there's another tweet I saw somewhere as well where there was someone tweeted, like, there was a girl who tweeted like, oh, can I wear a nice outfit without anyone complimenting me or without a man complimenting me? So annoying. And it's like, all right, okay. That's the society you want. You want a society where a woman can dress up, can be beautiful, and can be a certain way, and you don't want to be complimented. That's
Think of like all the women out there who may not be like the most attractive women out there, and they may not always get compliments, you know, and they may
yeah.
have low self-esteem. Like
What?
they would love to be, they would love to be in your position, you know, like they would
Oh
die
yeah,
for them.
yeah. I mean, fat chicks. You ever compliment a fat chick? You'll change her life because she doesn't get that often. Yeah. So, uh, you know, and then you have these resentful women who are very beautiful on the outside, but on the inside, she feels like she has to be on the defense. And it's like, yeah, you're a pretty girl. You're gonna have men who are gonna try to pursue you, and yeah, that's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. And you're gonna miss that when you get shriveled up and old, and no one wants to no one is going to pay attention to you anymore. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And then she says here, my recent tweets were an invitation to hear my experience as a woman. Are you up to learning something that may challenge your current view? First step, listen. I don't. Huh?
I'm asking Brie Larson, are you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Brie Larson. You know, they're gonna have the Captain Marvel movie too. That's another. That's. Hopefully, it's not like a feminist power anthem.
Already yes, because I think
you broke up a little bit. What'd you say?
no, I'm just saying like I don't like Marvel comics, but I think originally Captain Marvel in the comics is like a man or something. But I don't know. Maybe in the new comments they made her, they changed into a woman. So I don't know.
No, you're thinking of Captain Marvel, like Shazam from the DCU,
Was Captain Marvel the Marvel version also a man?
I could be wrong. I think Captain Marvel has always been a woman, at least on the at least on the Marvel side. I could be wrong.
Okay.
There might be a male.
I know on the DC side it's always been a dude, but like maybe in the Marvel side, I'm wrong, and like maybe it has been a woman. I don't know.
Well, that's why. Yeah, that's why Captain Marvel, basically they call him Shazam now because they're going to have the DC movie of Shazam. They probably won't even say Captain Marvel because people get confused. It's like, wait, you're Captain Marvel, but you're with DC. You don't have anything to do with Marvel, so people get confused. So that's why they just call him Shazam. But there might have been a male Captain Marvel on the Marvel side too. I could be wrong. I might be confusing him with X-Man, which is like Jean Grey's from the X-Men's brother. I could be wrong, so don't crucify me if I'm wrong, guys. So she says here, her final tweet, I don't need you to explain why my experience is invalid. I need you to listen because I'm not a liar and I have a soul. Poor you. So it's like, she said here, I've been on sets where I didn't feel safe. I felt objectified, but as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that I can value myself and I'm allowed to. As always, I stand with the brave survivors of sexual assault and harassment. It's not your fault. I believe you. So, yeah, and she was referring to Harvey Weinstein, the whole Harvey Weinstein situation. I really have no sympathy because, it's always these, you have Hollywood and these celebrities try to say that they're these moral bastions of glory and that they're the moral ones. They know what's good. They know what's right. And then, yeah, guess what? Those male feminists who are on your side, they end up being the creepers. They end up being the rapists. So, woe is you, right? So, but that's it. I don't know did you have any other stories for tonight, Classy?
I have some, I guess, other topics, but I guess we can save them for another stream.
Yeah, we had to kind of improvise tonight because our guest, I actually got a DM from him. He says that he was stranded. So, or he has, yeah, he had something happen, and our other guest as well had to bail because of some other personal issues. But we will get we'll get him back again to talk about basically our guest. He was after The Last Jedi. He's a Twitter user that followed me, And there's a huge community out there of people who, you know, talk about The Last Jedi and Star Wars and how it's been ruined. And, you know, I definitely want to have him on the stream. You know, it's not his fault that he had to be there. So, but we'll kind of respond to the chat here. Is it, Edward says, is it me? But have women gotten super salty after the election? When I talk to girls, I hide the fact that I'm a Trump supporter. Ro, you know, rolling on the floor laughing. So, yeah, Edward. I mean, Trump supporters. That's why Trump won, because so many people were afraid to even say that they supported Trump because you're immediately branded as something else. You know,
And they call themselves a silent majority.
Right. Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I completely understand that. Yeah, even when I'm dealing in my professional life, people start talking about politics. It's so annoying. I hate talking about politics in my personal life or my career life because, you know, you start talking about politics and someone's immediate opinion can change on you on what you say. So anytime someone brings up, like someone even today, like I was out and about and they started talking about Trump and the FBI. And I don't get into it at all. Like I just kind of like I pretend that I agree with what they're saying and just immediately change the topic. I'll talk about sports. I'll talk about the weather, anything besides politics, because I'd rather not get into it. This channel, this, you know, Revenge of the Dreamer, this is my outlet to talk about what I really want to talk about. That's why I don't care if people dislike the videos and unsub and this, because this is my outlet. This is my outlet. You know, I'm going to say what I want to say. And if I'm wrong, if I'm criticized, so be it. So Edward, I definitely empathize with you, man. And yeah, I wouldn't say women in general have gotten super salty. There are some women where it's like, you know, they say like, oh, all these white women supported Trump. How can they do that? And it's like Trump, you know, he hires women. He was like you know, before Obama, he hired like the first African-American like army general, like some very important position. And the media doesn't cover that. You know, the dishonest media doesn't cover that. And that's why, even though I'm not a Trump supporter, you can see why, you can see the bullshit and you can see what's happening. And then I don't know says, given the state of the West, going MGTOW is the safest thing to do right now. It's not about hating women. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that it's about hating women. You know, I really any MGTOWs. Once I post this video here, this stream, and I'm willing to debate a MGTOW and talk to someone who, you know, is a MGTOW YouTuber per se, because, you know, I want to learn. And I'm not saying that your whole thing is about hating women. Like I said, my whole point of that video was just saying that I do see some similarities between feminists and MGTOW when it comes to resentment. Not all feminists have resentment towards men. Not all MGTOWs have resentment towards women, but there are, you know, there is that group that does. So that's all I was pointing out. I'm not saying that feminists and MGTOW are the same. As far as it's the safest thing to do right now, I mean, I don't know what you mean. As far as safe, I don't think it's safe to keep your genes and not procreate and have kids. I don't think that's safe. You're not, you know, you're not gonna pass on your generations. So, I mean, I don't think that's pretty safe. But I mean, but we live. I'm all about freedom. I'm all about decisions and freedom to do what you want. If you want to choose to not have kids and, you know, just, you know, smash and pass with women and at the end of the day don't have kids, great. You know, that's good for you. We live in America, the greatest country in the world, where we have the decision to do whatever we want. So, but yeah, like I said, let's get a MGTOW on here. There was, I'm also working on like a former feminist who turned like red pill, who she might come on too. So, you know, we got some guests here. Unfortunately, we didn't have our guest tonight, but we will have this stream in the future talking about Star Wars and The Last Jedi, because it is kind of a big thing, like with like Star Wars fans and everything, about how big it is and how people are so opposed to the new movies and stuff. It's insane. So I had some articles and things set up here, but the Henry Cavill thing was pretty good. So and the whole Me Too thing, I don't know what's going to happen with Me Too. It seems like it's getting worse and worse. So do you have any final thoughts, Classy? Oh, Classy is gone. So I think his internet sucks. I think he's got to fix his internet. So. But guys, thank you for watching the stream tonight. It's always a pleasure for you guys joining me. If you like the stream, please make sure to like it. I do this every Saturday night. I'm also going to try to be streaming sometimes on my own, just ranting and raving, because I love to hear my own voice, of course, you know, during the week, maybe at night. So if you guys enjoy that, please make sure to subscribe if you're not already, and also thumbs up the video. So have a good night. I will check you guys on the next stream. And yeah, thanks so much.